Thank you for listening to SPN, the Savage Podcasting Network.
Since its opening in 2015, Faro Restaurant has been one of Idyllwild's leading restaurants, applauded for both its gracious service and casual take on fine dining. Nestled in the heart of the beautiful alpine village of Idyllwild, California, Faro is more than just great food and elegant surroundings. It's a treasure destination not to be missed. Faro Restaurant, an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema. It's Italian, elevated.
The Riverside County Film Commission and the Riverside County Economic Development Agency are proud to sponsor the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema. With a region of over 7,300 square miles, the Riverside County Film Commission works closely with all 28 cities located within its borders, as well as state and federal agencies, to help streamline your production and ensure its success, assisting with everything from permitting in all jurisdictions to finding just the right locations for your shoot and many other production necessities. Riverside County, the perfect fit for your next film production.
You're listening to The Stephen Savage Show on the Savage Podcasting Network. And now, here's your host, film and television director, Stephen Savage.
Thank you, Nicole. How you doing, everybody? Savage here with you for yet another episode of The Stephen Savage Show, the official podcast of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema, podcasting as usual from Cranium Wheel Studios at Chateau Esteban in the beautiful alpine village of Idyllwild, California, just a couple hours east of Los Angeles, but a world away at nearly 6,000 feet high atop majestic Mount San Jacinto and overlooking the great Coachella Valley. And as a reminder, the Idyllwild Cinema Festival, like this podcast, is completely non-corporate, and all of our advertisers are specific to Idyllwild, California and the surrounding areas, including our official lodging sponsor, Talk Eats Pines Retreat, Idyllwild's premier venue for weddings, family reunions, romantic getaways, or just about any large or small gathering or event. So if you're coming to Idyllwild for the film festival or at any time during the year, you owe it to yourself to check out the many charming cabins and cottages that make up this amazing mountain venue. Check them out today and book your Idyllwild lodging at talkeatspines.com. That's TAHQUITZ, Talk Eats Pines Retreat. All right, let's get on with the show. My guests today are two Idyllwild Cinema Festival alumni filmmakers. The first young lady you've seen as an actress in such iconic TV series as Rizzoli and Isles, Weeds, 2.5 Men, and the popular series Family Guy. And as a filmmaker, she picked up quite a few awards at Idyllwild 2024 with her amazing film Radio Silence, which is, if memory serves me, garnered some major awards in the featurette category that year, including Best Featurette, Best Actress in a Featurette, and I believe, if I'm not wrong, the Grand Jury Award, which is pretty huge. So allow me to bring on the amazing and talented Miss Nakia Secrest. Nakia, how are you, love?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Having you is easy. You're smart, you're witty, and I just like talking to you. So that was not a problem at all. And this extraordinary writer, director, and producer just finished her run at the Idyllwild Cinema Fest with an exceptional short film entitled Blue, which had a lot of people talking. And I think it ended the festival by picking up a well-deserved Indie Spirit Award. And those awards I won one at the Sundance Festival back in 2008, and I loved it so much. we feature it at the Idea Awards each year to recognize great talent in our rather large field of nominees. She's an accomplished screenwriter with turns for the Lifetime Network and shows like Veronica Mars and Lincoln Park, among others. So, yeah, she's a total professional. Let me welcome onto the show the lovely Ms. Dayna Lynne North. Dayna, thanks for coming on today. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. And yes, I am so glad that you created the Indie Spirit Awards. And I just wanted to let me throw in one small correction. It was Lincoln Heights was the show,
Oh,
but
Lincoln
also
Heights, that's right. Yeah,
which
yeah.
is like the small neighborhood in LA. And then Insecure is probably one of the titles that I am most recently known for, and certainly most proud of being a part of the executive producing team for. So
Cool.
that's one of my, just to throw in a more recent title or two. Yeah, just for some context. But hello.
I said Lincoln Park because I love that band.
It is a great, I get it. I know it happens. It is a great, I love that band too.
I'm a
But
rocker.
I get it. I get it. But yeah, the show was Lincoln Heights.
Yeah, Lincoln Heights.
But it's all good. And it's a pleasure to be with you both. Hi, Nakia. Wonderful to meet
Hi,
you.
Dayna. It was so lovely to meet you too. And if we're doing one small correction, I wish it was Family Guy, but it was Modern Family.
Modern Family.
Which is such a great show. Yes, we're doing this
a great show. But I'm
Right.
so happy to be in such amazing company. I mean, I'm just hearing all of your accolades. What a pleasure to be in.
Yeah,
Your
I don't have
back at you.
I don't have slouches on my show. Only the best.
Well said, well said. And yes, it is wonderful to be in both of your company. But Nakia, I look forward to we'll have to like really make this meeting happen. Or if you're in LA as well, now that we've met here, we'll have to go hang out. You know, we have
I am
Savage
in
to
LA.
blend.
Yeah, you guys
I
are
am
both
down
calling.
for a hangout.
Yeah, you're both
Yeah.
calling in from LA, I think, right? Yeah. I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
We are.
I'm gonna hit Dayna up first. I just want to know, what was your experience at the most recent Idyllwild just a couple weeks ago? How was your experience at Idyllwild overall?
Yeah, great question. And it was my first time, but definitely not my last. I can't wait to come back. It was so cool and just really wonderful. You have, as I think I said to you while we were up there, you've really curated and created such a unique experience in the Idyllwild Festival of Cinema. I love the whole name. It's it was so like it was great to just feel like genuinely held by the space, by the town, by the festival. Like was greeted so warmly that from the time I got up there, I was there from Wednesday through Sunday, and just had such a great time. Just getting to just everything about it, right? Getting to really feel like I could just immerse myself in everything from the town. Everyone is so great, and then all your volunteers, all your amazing ambassadors are so great and just make you feel so cared for. And of course, the filmmakers, getting to meet so many different filmmakers from all over the world, right? People coming in from London, of course, folks coming in from, from other parts of the country and California. But it was great to just see the variety of films, of the different types of filmmakers. It was so fun to just get to immerse myself and just go watch great shorts and features all day. I had a fantastic time, made some friends that I know I will keep and that I look forward to seeing next year. I also truly enjoyed the fact that you screened Cosmic Radio, because that was really cool to see. And I wanted to, I just want to say it was
20
fun
years.
to just
It's hard to believe I made that film
Right?
20 years ago. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But-
And I'm so glad you decided to screen it. Like it was, and that's what I'm saying. It was cool to just see like a variety from something like that, from you, a seasoned filmmaker who's bringing something out from, right, bringing out a classic, to people that were making, right, their directorial debuts. And it was just, I loved the variety. I loved just the experience. I had a great time. I really did. It was wonderful. I love it felt great to be nominated. I was, Blue was nominated for multiple awards, and it felt wonderful to just feel recognized in that way, and just feel like like the work was really genuinely recognized. I had a wonderful time.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring Nakia in on that same question, because you guys, the independent filmmakers who really aren't ensconced in Hollywood yet, though that's probably their dream. But you guys are living that. You guys have both been involved in, through acting and writing in major productions. So I wanted to know, like, Nakia, what was it like for you? It's been a couple years, but as somebody who's a true professional walking into that independent space, you seem to have a great time.
It was a completely immersive experience. And I have to say, I felt also, like Dayna was saying, that I felt very held there. Because, you can go to these industry events and it looks like glitz and glam, but to connect with people in such a creative way and so authentically and so genuinely, because we're just all so happy to be in each other's company. I do feel like, the industry has been good to me, but I'm also like good to everybody. So I feel like energy attracts energy. But being there, I really felt like the energy attraction because everybody there was just so great. Everyone that was helping out with the festival, it made me, I mean, not to be cliche, but it did feel like a family where we were all supporting each other. And truly, like, everybody's just so happy to be there. Just so happy, like, no matter what happens, of course, the nomination is huge. And then, of course, the dream of winning is always kind of in the background. We're happy to be there. But if you win, that's significant as well. But just to be in each other's presence, supporting each other. And I love with a few friends too. And I saw some different styles of story making and storytelling, which I thought was really inspiring because, all we have is our own inner voice, but to really be able to see everyone else's point of view be so well received and to see different styles to be inspired. And like, it was kind of, it was a festival, but it was also a master class on what you might be capable of that you're not even entertaining yet. It was such a opening perspective where you could just freely talk to people about their process, not because you're trying to get anything out of them, but really like, I want to know what your process was because I don't know from your experience, Dayna, but it seemed like everyone had a hurdle to overcome. And
sure.
it makes you realize that, hey, the hurdle is kind of part of the process. And how did this person tackle it? And how did this person? And a lot of movies almost didn't get made. And then there they were on the big screen.
For sure.
And I also think that there was just something so powerful of it. When I went, it was almost 2 years ago. I'm coming back, Stephen, just so you know. But almost 2 years ago, our festival and like the awards ceremony was on the same day as the Academy Awards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just like we were even though we were in Idyllwild, it was like we were at the Academy Awards. I don't know if anybody says that's what it felt like. It really felt like it was the same experience. And I've never been there, but that's what you want the experience to be like, where you can be friendly and talking and open and inspired and be in the presence of other creatives.
Well, I've been to the Oscars and Idyllwild. It's better. No,
I get it. And actually, and off of that, Nakia, you also reminded me of something else that I think is so valuable about the experience, which is, Savage, to your point, like, yes, we both happen to have careers in the industry, that we've built. And I met other filmmakers there who might have been working in some other capacity, but to be able to go somewhere where you feel free to take risks, sure. I think that's such a valuable piece of it because, as Nakia was speaking to, it's like, yes, it's one thing to have built like for me, I've been writing and producing in television for a long time, but I'm excited about expanding. I'm excited about, jumping into a different lane. And as we know, in many industries, but certainly in film and TV, the lane that you might have been working in is often the lane that people want you to keep working in because you've proven yourself there, right? And so like the idea of jumping into something different for me, jumping back into directing after being away from it for a long time, or meeting other filmmakers who are like, yes, I might have been directing in soap operas, but I want to do this really edgy drama, or I want to do this really heightened, right, supernatural thing, or whatever it might be. And I think I noticed one of the common threads that I seem to also hear was certainly you get a chance to commiserate about just what a miracle it is to get a film made at all. And it's a place where you can take risk and be with other people where you, again, will feel supported and like, oh, look at that risk you took. Look at how you did that. Tell me how you did that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's another thing that's a really beautiful thing that's been curated there is it's a place that people clearly artists feel safe and feel welcome to take their risk and bring it in. And that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's a gathering of the tribes. And that's what I had originally wanted it to be when the year that I had a film at Sundance. that's what I got from Sundance. And since then, even, Robert Redford left the festival because it became so corporate and so, it was nothing but big studio and big production company films. And he was kind of, he talked about it at, he always does a breakfast with the directors and everything. And he talked about how he hoped that they could get back to that, getting the filmmakers, giving voices to filmmakers who didn't have those $50 million budgets and big name actors, and it just kind of disappeared. And Idyllwild is small enough to where I think I don't run the festival. I'm the face of the festival. My executive producer, Trinity Houston, her team runs it, but I keep an eye on it, and I'm the liaison with the grand jury, and we have a very well-known, famous grand jury, and they all feel the same way. Let's keep it simple and smaller, and it is like it is my original vision of this. Everybody becomes a tribe by the end of it, and anyway, I want to get into some other things, but I start to ramble sometimes. But I like to let my listeners learn about my guests by allowing the guests to give us some background on where they came from, their family upbringing, their education, and what it was that made them want to become an actor or a filmmaker, or a writer in the first place. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to give you both equal time. I'll start with Nakia, and then Dayna, I'll jump right into you. And just tell us a little bit about your beginnings, if you would.
It's cool, it's hip, and it's where Idyllwild goes for burgers, fries, sub sandwiches, ice cream, and more. Atomic Cow, downtown Idyllwild, California. Official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema. Fast, fierce, and filmmaker friendly. Be there or be square. Atomic Cow.
Did you know the Art Alliance of Idyllwild is a nonprofit organization with a mission of creating community through art? Hi, I'm Paige, artist member, board member, and treasurer of the Art Alliance of Idyllwild. Our vision is to enhance our community through creativity, art education, exhibition, and artistic excellence. There are 4 ways to help. Become a member, make a tax-deductible donation, attend our events, follow us on Instagram, and like and share our posts. You can find us at Art Alliance of Idyllwild on Instagram and at artinidyllwild.org.
Every small town has that one special spot, a place where strangers become friends and friends share great times together. Idyllwild, California has just that spot, Terrence Place Pub and Gallery, where live music and good company create amazing memories. We feature fine wines along with international and domestic tapped beers. Our vibe is welcoming, fun, and eclectic. Terrence Place Pub and Gallery is proud to be an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema. Come and experience the alpine charm of Terrence Place, located in the Village Lane in downtown Idyllwild, California. We invite you to stop by and have a great time.
Born out of creativity and desire, the Peak Restaurant and Bar at Tahquitz Pines is a must-see experience for anyone visiting the beautiful alpine village of Idyllwild, California. Featuring a mix of local and international cuisine, the Peak Restaurant and Bar is the centerpiece of the Tahquitz Resort. Set amid gorgeous mountain surroundings and miles of hiking trails, the Peak is unlike any other eatery around. And as an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema, the Peak is home of the event's famous Filmmakers Village every year. The Peak Restaurant at Tahquitz Pines Retreat. Come dine with us.
Okay. Well, again, you already know my name, Nakia Secrest. I'm originally from Boston, but I'm a Haitian American. My mom came over with her 6 other siblings from Haiti with my grandparents, and I grew up in Boston and, started doing theater maybe in the 5th grade. There was a summer program, and it was called the Regal Players, and our school, it could have been a charter school, but it wasn't. It was massive, like schooling system, like where the high school, we had a planetarium and cooking classes and dance classes. And so the summer program, I asked my mom, can I, try out for this summer play? And it was a massive production, and it was Peter Pan. And I thought I was going to be Tiger Lily, but they only gave the speaking roles to the seniors. But I went in there and I gave it my best shot. And I stuck with the Regal players all the way through high school until I started getting leads and doing, comedy reviews. And also at Waltham High School, it's just outside of Boston. We had televisions in the classroom. So we also had a TV studio. So I was kind of brought up with it, not through like family relation, but the schooling that I had in Waltham, we just had so many opportunities to explore different things. And I joined the TV studio in ninth grade, and then 10th grade, I was doing the morning news like a broadcaster in all of the classrooms. And so that combined with theater, I was hoping to go to school for, acting and theater. And my family was like, no, or what about reporting? So I decided to go to Emerson, where I was acting like a reporter. And, I joined the National Association of Black Journalists, and I understood how to tell a story, which is, I believe, is the foundation of how I've been able to write for film and TV. Not that I've done anything on a larger scale, but from the indie perspective, being able to write a 15 or 30-second story and get that when, where, what, how, out there, like the basics out there, and then being able to expand is kind of the structure that I started with. And then I did the Emerson Abroad program in Holland, and I lived in a castle for a few months and, had a Euro pass and traveled all over and went to, Portugal and Budapest and Prague and France and Spain. And everyone's like, wow, you must really love the news and you must really love reporting for you to be studying that. And that's when I really realized that I was acting like a reporter and not living really my truth, but this conditioning from family to, you should get a job and do these things. So I came back from Europe. I dropped out of school as a junior, which I've definitely had some thoughts about in my older years. I should have probably just got a bachelor's. I probably should have got it. But I dropped out and I took a bus from Boston to New York, and I auditioned for AMDA in New York at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. And I got a full scholarship to go.
Sweet. Nice.
So I called my mom and I said, hey, I dropped out of school. I haven't been in school for 6 months, but I got a full scholarship to go to acting school in New York, and I'm leaving in like 3 weeks. And she didn't talk to me for like 2 days, and she said, okay, let me know what you need me to do to pack up and get you out there. And I started doing a lot of off-Broadway there in New York and had the time of my life. Then after 9/11, I decided to take the leap and come out to California. And I asked a bunch of people, what do you think about California? And they're like, oh, it's so fake and you'll never get an agent. And I'm like, well, what did you think? How long were you there? They're like, oh, I've never been there. Who wants to go there? I'm getting all this advice from people who have never actually gone there. So I'm going to go. And if I don't like it, I can always come back.
Right.
So I started on May 1st that I would move to LA. And by May 29th, I was out here. I had a studio waiting for me, and a friend drove cross country and left her car here. And I bought a red Cherry Bomb convertible for $500. And the rest is history. And, I love LA. I feel like all the New York people are kind of missing out. I got the best of both worlds. But, I signed with the commercial agent on my second week that I was out here. What is everyone talking about? So I've had some things that have happened in life that have, really shaped my perspective on life. And I really believe if you're in alignment and you have a vision, even if it doesn't go according to plan, you end up where you're supposed to end up. And I'm so happy I took the leap of faith because, I booked some great commercials and started working on some indie projects, which is how I met Rick and Jen Serena of Serena Creative, who produced Radio Silence. And I've worked with them for almost 15 years now, doing specs and voiceovers and then bigger projects. And then we decided to do this project together. And I've really found an amazing creative family out here. And
there's a lot of us out there.
There really is. There really is. And people that have their heart in the right place will always find you when your heart's in the right place.
I think that's true. Yeah.
I really, really have been very blessed to meet a lot of people that we speak the same language.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, it's not really as typical a story. Oh, that's a typical story when you think about it. No, it's hard to do. It's hard to just pack up and move to a place you're unfamiliar with. But those who do usually end up planting their flag somewhere, Dayna, I know you're a USC Cinema Arts grad, and you pretty much came out right out of the gate writing professionally for some great shows. But could you fill us in on what came before all that, so people don't think you just walk out here and fall into something like Nakia
right?
did? No,
right. Right, exactly. Well, and it's always that, right? How long does it take to become and I was not an overnight success by any means, but it's right. It's always that, it's that piece of the story that people, as you're saying, usually don't get a chance. And thank you for sharing that, Nakia. It's always cool to hear someone's story.
Yeah.
And so, let's see. Well, I'm a Midwestern girl, first of all. I was born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri. And there I was a theater kid. And I was a poet. Like I come from a family of artists and poets and things like that. My mom who died when I was 14, but she was a teacher. And my dad is an attorney, but he was the kind of guy that used to make up my bedtime stories. And I say that because I didn't know until I was older how young in life I was learning about things like cliffhangers and plot twists, right? Because my dad would come running upstairs to get there before I went to sleep, and he would start telling me some story about a girl. He would make it up, right? This girl, and she was in a cave, and then this happened. Okay, go to bed. I'll tell you the rest tomorrow. And I'd be like, what? So my dad is an amazing, I like to say he was my first writing teacher. And so, and he still likes to write poetry and all this stuff. So I've got that going for me. And when I was in middle school, in high school, I started doing, theater in Kansas City, like doing equity theater and all that, and have just kind of always been immersed in and loving the arts. And when I found out that there was such a thing as being able to go to film school, because I wasn't one of those kids, I wasn't running around with a camera or anything like that, right? But I was doing plays and writing poetry and stuff. Mm-hmm. And also, by the way, doing some journalism in high school. But then I found out that there were the NYUs and the USCs, and that was really exciting to me. And my dad, again, being the kind of a slightly suppressed artist, was like, he was cool with the idea of me. He said, if you really think you want to study film and TV, because I was also the kind of kid who would watch movies 20 times and recite the lines and drive my sisters, crazy. Right. And I have an older sister out in LA, Cheryl, who also was a writer. But see, my mom, I will say my mom was also the type who was like, you got to do something that I understand. So my sister is a doctor who also wrote for television, because my mom was like, go to med school. Like, I don't know what this writing thing is. Right. So, so I had people in my family who were also super creative. So I went to USC where that was the first place I would say I found my tribe, right? Just getting to meet a lot of other amazing friends who just knew that pretty young, that's what they wanted to do. And so we had, that was the first place I started making films and writing and directing plays. And that's where I first became Loud Sis. I would notice like, oh, okay, all these filmmakers that I love, the Spielbergs and the Scorseses and whomever, they seem to have these production companies. So when I was in college, I started calling it Loud Sis Productions, which I have held on to because it's who I am. And so, as advertised. And so, I had a great time, and it is a real thing that is a blessing, which is that whole USC vibe of kind of meeting your tribe and then being able to kind of stick with them. And so it was a beautiful thing to make these friends that I have kept, and that we've, and the kind of friends that it doesn't matter whether you've been out of work for a year or you just got some cool new job, you can still go to the barbecue, go to karaoke, hang out with your, right? It's those kind of friends. And at the same time, I met some of the friends that I would later, like my friend Prentice Penny, who was Issa Rae's showrunning partner on Insecure, called me when I got that pilot set up at HBO and said, hey, do you want to come work on this? And so that's to say, like, it was a beautiful thing that, what somebody that works at I have a small production company with Loud Sis, and my executive, Michelle, I used to work for her in college, like at USC, when I was running around being an assistant to saying, I want to work on the plays. And, just the friends that you make are friends that you keep. And that's a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. And then had a great time at USC, and then got out, thought I was going to, and, by the way, too, did come out with that beautiful young naivete of like, I'm going to land in LA. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to graduate and become a filmmaker, right? That's how it works. I'm going to graduate and immediately be directing. Well, I graduated. I started PAing, and I had that sort of moment of reality hitting. Mm-hmm. But I started working as a writer's assistant and then fell in love with television, because I did come out with a little bit of, you all remember back in the day, you remember when features was the cool kid and TV was kind of the, right, nobody wanted to hang out.
The bastard stepchild.
Exactly. back in the day. Right. But I fell in love with, I really enjoy the communal process that is, sitting around with a group of people, arguing about where you're going to order lunch, and looking at a blank whiteboard, and figuring out stories together. Like, that's a fun process. Like, I really do enjoy it. And so I really consider being a writer's assistant, which is what I started doing shortly after graduating. Like, I think my first year after graduating, I had my first writer's assistant gig on a Lifetime show that would become my first TV job. And I really consider that to be my grad school, because that's where I got the chance to understand, this is how you craft, a 22 episode season. And this is what does it look like to write your way into these corners and write your way out of them? And what does it look like to build these character arcs? And I had amazing mentors who are still friends to this day. So I kind of consider my writer's assistant years to be my grad school in the trenches. Mm-hmm. And then, started writing, doing writer's assistant gigs. And then that's when all the, I got promoted and then, started working for some amazing women on shows like Any Day Now or Lincoln Heights, and then worked for my friend Rob Thomas on Veronica Mars, and just kind of kept, it's that ladder, which can be an interesting thing, the sort of TV writing ladder, where sometimes you might repeat certain rungs of the ladder and that kind of thing, depending on what's going on. But it's been a great time, and I've really enjoyed that, working my way up in that process. But somewhere along the way, I sort of, the directing, got put to the side, and it's been beautiful to make my way back to it. The only other thing I'll add is that, like, most recently, I also was the showrunning partner to Malcolm Lee on the Peacock series, The Best Man Final Chapters. Mm-hmm. There was a series of movies, The Best Men films, that are kind of an iconic thing in cinema. And it was really fun to adapt those, to do the limited series of that. Right. But again, it was also that point where I really realized, I've spent a lot of time sort of being a doula to other people's stories and helping to bring other people's visions to life. Mm-hmm. And again, that was that point where I was like, you know what? It's time to be a doula to my own dreams. Right. So that's what I'm excited about. A
limited series you mentioned. I mean, that's where I'm going as well. Somebody said something interesting to me. They go, Tom Hardy's a TV star. He's not a movie star. And I thought about it for a second. I go, holy crap. He's made major movies, but I mean, he makes mostly limited series, TV series. That's what he does. Mm-hmm. And to find success in that area, and I have my partners and I have some great things that we're running now, and I think some of the best writing and definitely the best directing is happening in limited series. It's an interesting. I agree.
Yeah. Dayna, I love your expression of being a doula to other people's stories. That is just so I completely resonate with that. And especially in front of the camera, I'm definitely a doula to other people's stories. And
Right?
that's, I think that's what sparked my interest when Rick and I started talking about this idea for Radio Silence, because we have been doulas for other people's stories, and
Hmm.
Serena Creative Company, they do a lot of like network and streaming stuff and commercial and stuff like that. And it was like, what do we really want to say? And
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
birth your own child, to be your own doula is
Right?
But there's the
profound,
thing.
and it hits different.
There's the
Yeah.
thing. There's the thing, guys. We all, the
What?
three of us, made a decision early on that we were, yes, we would dabble in other people's ventures, but we all want to be the director, the writer, we want to be that. And every movie I make, there's somebody from Grip or Electric or some department crew person will walk up to me and, man, I want to be where you are. And I say, I'm here because I was willing to starve and eat crap for years because I decided I wasn't going to come out of film school and be, a second AC or anything like that. I was going to do my thing. And you guys, you're both pretty fortunate to have your talent skills where they lie. In other words, Dayna, you were able to go and write for other people, but knowing full well that this was not, you were still the creative force. You were putting it on the page. But I can understand Nakia's point as an actress. And I got to tell you, Nakia, you eat up the screen. I think one of the things about your success, and this isn't to belittle it at all, but you have such a screen presence that that's a tool in your toolbox that I think you've used a lot. You pop on the screen. You've got one of those faces, and then your acting talent backs it up. But I'm just thinking both of you.
Thank you. I am honored, and I will receive all of it. Thank you so much.
Well, you guys both, you're both. I don't know, how do I put this? You're nobody's fools, and you know what tools you need to use, and you both know when to take a certain path because you know it's going to take you to another path where you guys aren't walking up and going, I want to be the director. You just said, I'm going to be the director, or I'm going to be the screenwriter. And good for you guys, man. Good. It's really
thank
good.
you. I know I received that and appreciate that. And I know what you're saying too. There's that thing, there's that moment when you got to decide to bet on yourself, right? That moment where you say, I'm going to drop out of school and I'm going to bet and pursue what I really want to pursue. And I'm going to bet on myself. Or, so I know what you mean. Like most, right? Like I think sometimes the difference between, right, like getting to where you, like being the director on set or being in some other position, it is that thing of really, being willing to risk it all, being willing to fail, and that bet on yourself moment. And so I think that's a big one, I think, for most artists who make their way out to LA and pursue this wacky. It requires a little bit of crazy and a little bit of being willing to bet on yourself,
or a lot. Yeah. And so I agree. Like there's that, you got to be willing to bet on yourself and kind of take the leap and know that either the wings or the parachute are going to show up. Is what I like, the way I like to think of it.
And I will say this: I'm always very proud of my dialogue, and I think both of you guys have a dialogue thing. That's not everyone can write good dialogue. Dayna, you write amazing dialogue.
Thank you.
You guys are both. You seem to have a grasp on that bridge between your real life experiences and the page. And that's not everybody has that,
Yeah. Thank you for that. No, I agree. Yeah.
And I appreciate it because especially Dayna, when you were saying you were the kid that watched the same movies 20 or more times, that's me as well. And those movies talk how we understand how we would be in a conversation. So I don't have as much formal training as Dayna, but the training that I've had has been, a little UCLA and some writing classes here and there. But from watching TV, I'm like, that's not how people talk. Why would they say it?
I've had some very, very famous women actresses I've worked with tell me, you write such great roles for women. And I always say, I'm not a genius. I was raised by women as a kid.
Mm.
My mom, my sister, my aunts, their friends. And in the best way possible, being a guy raised by women is like being raised by wolves, simply because there's a different perspective on things. And those conversations that I write, they come from me laying in bed at night as a little boy, listening to my mom and my sisters and their friends chatter. They just chat, and it's like the stories that come out and the way women are able to talk over each other and yet never push each other out of the way. Women understand even when there are 3-4 people talking. You guys absorb it. We guys aren't able to do that. We just can't. And so that's where I get that. And so I as you guys are saying, I give all of the credit to experience, not teaching. As Dayna, Dayna's got a very formal writing education, but the fact is, I bet 99% of everything she writes comes from her experiences and from the heart, and not from some textbook about writing.
No, absolutely. It's, it was all of the above. I probably learned, I think, the value because, USC had its value, and that was, as I said, in the relationship aspect and in what I learned, probably, I would say probably more in the visual language, but you're right. I would say the writing aspects, I would say I absolutely agree. I've learned the most about writing just from an ear, right? I'm the kind of, right, how you're sitting in the airport and eavesdropping on the conversations around you, and as you all both said, listening to just being a listener, an active listener, and actively listening to my favorite forms of TV and film my whole life. But and just really getting to understand the visual language probably of film was what I like when I first got exposed to that, right? Was probably what I value most about the formal training. But for sure, as I said, when I got out and really started being a writer's assistant, where I had to just sit there and listen, and every once in a while, and because I had cool people that I worked for, I got to occasionally chime in, but then also learning the value too, right? Of like, let me actually have something to contribute if I'm going to speak up in this conversation.
Woodland Park Manor, one of Idyllwild, California's best known and beloved lodging destinations, is a rustic treat for the casual overnighter or vacation traveller. With its many unique rooms and cottages and that special hideaway feel, Woodland Park Manor gives new meaning to the word relaxation. Nestled among the tall pines and centuries-old oak trees, the manor says Idyllwild the moment you enter the property. As a sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema since year one, all festival attendees are treated like family, because that's what you are to the proprietors. Woodland Park Manor, Idyllwild, California. Book your room now and tell them you're coming for the festival. You will love it.
Idyllwild, California is known for its many quaint shops, but none is more quaint or special than Shala Tea Company in downtown Idyllwild. With a wide variety of regional, international, and exotic blends to choose from, Shala is more than just a tea shop. It's an experience for the soul. As an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema, Shala Tea Company offers a discount for all festival badge holders. And what film festival journey would be complete without just the right tea bag in your travel cup? Shala Tea Company, Idyllwild, California. Experience it.
Looking for great Mexican cuisine in Idyllwild, California? Look no further than La Casita, Idyllwild's #1 spot for authentic Mexican fare. Serving up both traditional and north of the border specialties. La Casita is also famous for its great beer and wine selection, and the best margaritas to be found anywhere. La Casita, an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Film Festival, and simply the best Mexican food around.
I agree with all of that, because as a filmmaker, film school, what it did, if you learn screenwriting, you learn just everything you learn about making a movie, the nuts and bolts. You learn the structure, and that's important, because I didn't have to get on a film set and learn the structure of how a movie's made. It was kind of handed to me as a gift. But then, like you guys, as soon as I left the that educational aspect of everything, that sphere, you're on your own, and what you pick up is what you learn. And I want to move on real quick, because I talked to you both about this, but there was a real reason I brought you two on, specifically, because I admire your work, but also I think you have insights into things that it's like, I get the feeling when I look at you guys, when I talk to you guys, you have answers to things that I said nobody else has. But I want to speak about a bit about women in film. This is we gave up our Women in Film Awards just before COVID, and here was the reason. The women, we started out at our film festival the first 3 years, the male directors who brought their films to us vastly outnumbered females, vastly. And I'm talking directors now. But after about year 6 or 7, it got dead even. Now there are certain years where there are more female directors than there are male directors. So I thought, everybody's going head to head. Why do we need a special category? So I kind of dumped it. But then I've been talking to people in, women in film in Palm Springs, and people who become friends of mine, and they say, well, here's the reason that those are important. And I get all the reasons they say, but I'm still on the fence about it. So I like to get some feedback, and especially women of color in independent cinema. I'm not talking about Oscar winners, and I'm talking about independent cinema, and where you think that perhaps Women in Film Awards in an independent setting are a positive thing. And it's going to sound hokey, but you both, to me, have super positive energy. And that's what I first picked up on from the both of you. Neither of you allows for negative energy. I'm sure it's there, but you don't let it seep into your work. You guys have messages like all of us writers do, but it doesn't, it's not a driving force for either one of you. You guys are filmmakers, you're artists, you just do it. And you don't talk about lack of opportunities or anything. As Dayna was saying, I just decided I was going to do this movie, but and she simply created it. And you consider yourselves, both of you, filmmakers first and above anything else. And your approach to writing and directing, it allows you to set your message that you want within the film, but you don't bog yourself down in a lot of politics. Politics is always going to be in all of our lives, but you guys are just nothing but, let's face it, all filmmakers have to go find money. So funding is a struggle, no matter what color you are, no matter what your sex is. But
Sure.
You guys managed to go out and get recognition for your work without all of that baggage on your back. And you just put your head down and make things happen. Do you think I've described you both correctly?
Yes.
Yes, I have a yes and. But go ahead, Nakia, you start.
I was getting to a yes, and I said, even when we spoke on the phone, I said, I'm a habitual silver lining surfer, because if I'm looking at the problem, I can't see the solution.
Right.
So you have to move forward. And I think it's a part of, yes, some of it is our disposition, but regardless of your circumstances, if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do something. And I do believe that men have this quality as well, but I do feel like having a women in film category is still relevant. And I mean, look, we just had Autumn win last night, the first cinematographer ever. So even if there are a lot of women that are in the submission category now, there still needs to be a level of elevation. And I do feel like having the opportunity for women to talk about their process in a larger scope, that it doesn't mean that we need a special treatment because there is an equality of submissions, but a lot of women, because of our struggles, because we have just had our first female cinematographer win in 2026.
Thank you.
There needs to still be a highlight on that. And I think a lot of women in the industry have the same disposition, because the things that are being highlighted now, as far as our struggles and conflicts and things that we've had to overcome, we have been subconsciously and sometimes consciously trained to, you just grin and bear it for so many things, whether it's equal pay, whether it's equal recognition. That silent struggle still exists within us, But I don't have time to entertain it because I've been kind of entertaining it my whole life. And it's just part of the process. Just like the risk that people take, just like people may not be able to, things going wrong on set and their film didn't get made. It's kind of inherently built in most women's DNA that you're going to overcome something. So maybe that's why we're all kind of positive before in this industry. Like, oh, okay, the door's going to be closed. Oh, the glass ceiling is here. Well, what do? We just keep going until we make it happen.
Yeah. Well, in the end, what's your choice?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, right? If you want to keep going, I mean, that is the choice. The choice is if you decide just to build on that, and I agree with everything Nakia just said, and just to build on it, to answer your question, the choice is if I've decided that I want to bet on myself and I want to pursue this and I want to try to, I'm going to hit closed doors and I'm going to hit glass ceilings. And I think my yes and is, Stephen, we can be positive, but that doesn't, and still acknowledge the reality.
Oh, of course.
And the reality, right? And so I just want to be clear, because I agree with everything about the way that you described us, but I also think it's important to acknowledge the reality. And so the reality is, it was 2026 when Autumn, right, Gerald won. The reality is that there is still a lack of parity, and by the way, it's beautiful that there may not be a lack of parity at Idyllwild. Like that's incredible. And so with what you're saying about Idyllwild specifically, that's beautiful. And to me, what it actually bring back something like the Women in Film Awards in a place where it first of all gives you an opportunity. What I would say about that, to speak specifically, is it gives you an opportunity to acknowledge the environment that has been created and what has been cultivated at this festival in particular. But it also gives you an opportunity to acknowledge that, yes, we still live in an industry and in a world where there's a lot, right, where it's a lack of parity, and that's the reality. And that we do have, as you said, we as women of color, we as women absolutely run into more obstacles. We run into obstacles. We run into more obstacles. I'm guessing, I'm not going to speak for Nakia, but I'm imagining that, yes, Nakia and I are both probably the kind of people that, no, we don't focus on the obstacles, as Nakia said. We focus on the solution. We focus on how we're going to get around them. But the obstacles are there. And our obstacles to getting a film made, Stephen, are going to be different than yours. And they're probably going to be more than yours. And that's just the reality, right? And so I think, go ahead, Nakia, what?
I was just co-signing what you said. That is the reality.
Yeah, right. So the reality is that, yes, all filmmakers struggle to raise money, but there's also reality about the number. If you just, let's zoom out for a second. When you talk about, because I have a lot of friends who are entrepreneurs, right, and founders, and the reality is the number of people who are willing to invest in Black women founders is like right there. They have the least amount of VC investment in the country, right? That's the reality. And so just coming back to why is a Women in Film Award a significant thing to do? Because it allows you to acknowledge that's the reality, and acknowledge what how Idyllwild might be different than that, and what Idyllwild is doing to be forward thinking and to be conscious of that, and to celebrate the women who are part of the festival, because it is something where the celebration is still important.
But that's the whole.
Turn to last night.
It comes back to, I can only look at my film festival as a microcosm. So if I have just as many and oftentimes more female filmmakers nominated for awards and winning awards, and you both saw it, there were a lot of women up there getting awards. If I just look at it as that sort of microcosm, then I just ask myself, why do I have to sort of make excuses for other people, or for, hey, look at me, I am so forward thinking and I'm so this or that. I almost think it's exactly the opposite. By by not pushing those, and I'm just talking out loud here so you guys can give me the advice, and you're already doing a good job of telling me why you think they're important, and that's what I wanted to know. And I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate here, but I feel that, you know, our film festival doesn't really need them because of the way. Now, if, let's say, 4 years from now, all of a sudden we have a decline in women submitting films. I don't see that happening. But what if we did? What if we had a big decline and only 4 female filmmakers sent us work? Then I might think about it. But doesn't mean I'm not going to think about it, because I am mercenary and I want my film festivals to succeed. So if enough people like women in film in Palm Springs, or like you guys, you prominent filmmakers like you, if you guys say, hey, jerk boy, get back to the awards, I'm going to seriously think about it. And I am always going to listen to the advice of not just any Joe Schmo. And I hate to say that, but as I told you, you guys are on the show for a reason, because you've built careers, you know. And so anyway, thanks for that. I mean, I just want you guys to feel free to let me know what you think. And
yeah, go ahead. I have one too, but Nakia,
I wanted
please.
to add one thing. So I agree with, and I understand where you're coming from, Stephen, but it is, your festival is highly influential. It's not like, oh, we won, you know, Palm Springs is great too, but when you win at Idyllwild, it's Idyllwild.
Right.
And I think being the face, having a male spearhead the importance of it, would have a certain kind of trickle down effect, which I think is important, because it's not necessarily that you're being silent, but you have, like, you're seeing the inside track of having equal or more women submitting, and you're honoring as many women or more than many other festivals. But I think actively having the women in film sends a message to the other festivals that this is still important. And whether a woman wins best director or best featurette, having a woman in film, even if it's specifically towards women issues or something like that, it shows a certain amount of care, of like a certain way for you to speak up and for the inclusion of it. So we're not just having, you know, our another round of firsts in 2026 or 2027, having it as an essential part of the Idyllwild Festival just kind of sends a message. And it's showing, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, that we have an ally, even though it's already built into your festival. It just shows on a larger scale that other festivals should do it, and we shouldn't be doing these first, and we should be highlighting women regardless.
Yeah, that's a valid argument, and that's why I had you guys on here today. I just wanted to bend your ears a little bit and get some feedback, and you're both great.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you. And I'm curious about, because it also sounds, which I'm intrigued that, and even when you were mentioning it to us, I think prior to coming on, it seems like you've kind of already, and maybe not, like, are you actually considering it, or have you actually already kind of made a decision, but you wanted to?
The vast majority of this little private poll that I'm doing about bringing it back, the vast majority is yes, bring it back. And a lot of women have said, no, it's the way your festival's going. You really don't need it. You're honoring filmmakers as filmmakers. However, some of what Nakia just said really makes sense to me. And I've thought about some of these things, that maybe it's sending a message to other film festivals, and to also, you know, to win a woman in film award, how does that help somebody's career? Well, it could help a lot. And but if you notice, like last night, okay, the first female cinematographer. Well, we've had 6 or 7, 8 or 9 women cinematographers win at our festival. So,
and that brings me to the final thing that the point I would like to make, and thing I would like to challenge you on, which is Idyllwild actually a microcosm of? Because I think you all are in a unique position. You're like, in other words, the number of women who submit to you all is one thing. The number of women that you all accept into the festival is another. And I would say, what I would ask you to do is, you know, have someone on your team pull the stats of, like, look at the number of women that are accepted into Idyllwild, the number of women that are accepted into, pick whichever 3 or 4 festivals you might want to pull stats from. And I'm saying, is Idyllwild a microcosm, or are you all actually ahead of the industry, ahead of many other, whichever other festivals you might consider comparable. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I think, is it accurate to call? And I'm saying, I think you're better than a microcosm. I think you all are ahead of your time, which goes back to the point that Nakia is making. If you all are doing something that's actually ahead of where the industry is, ahead of where whichever other festivals I'm not going to name because I'd like to be considered and not trash anybody. But if you all are ahead of 4 or 5 other festivals around the country that probably have lower numbers of women accepted than you do, then that doesn't make you a microcosm. And that would be my other argument, is I think if you all are ahead of your time, then that's worth noting.
It's also, I have to respect where the festival's at and how big it's not big in size. Because Idyllwild is so small, we can only be so big. That's part of what makes it special. We're close to LA, so I can get some of my famous friends involved, but also we've become, I don't know how, when the Hollywood Reporter called us the greatest little film festival on earth, and then LA Weekly said we were a mini Sundance. And I thought, well, that's all. Those are good, nice little things. People come up to the festival and write about us. But then, when I got my first writing gig with Paramount Network and for Taylor Sheridan, and I walked in to a Yellowstone staff writers, just a gathering. They were trying to decide who was going to come and work on the next 2 episodes ahead of the main writers. And I walked in, and Taylor's got my resume. A couple other people are looking at it. I sit down, shake everybody's hands, and the first thing he said was, "You own the Idyllwild Film Festival?" And I went, "What the F is, how does that, of all the stuff on that resume, that's the thing he thought was cool." So
absolutely, I'm not surprised by that at all. I mean, I don't even know what all there's all the films you've made, but that's a standout thing.
It's kind of cool. So to me, back to Nakia's point, now both of you guys have made this point that maybe we're not so much of a microcosm, and maybe we have a responsibility to stay ahead of the curve. Because I've done the research, and there are a lot of big festivals that have their Women in Film Awards, and there are even women's specific film festivals. But I think being an overall, we accept every kind of film. We don't have a theme, right? And to bring back our Women in Film Awards would probably behoove us. Just as we grow even more as a film festival, that would just be one more feather in our cap. And to me, that's worth doing it. All of the rest of it aside, it's all nice. But I have to look out for the festival as a business, and that might be a good business move.
Well, we are so happy that we have inspired you and encouraged you to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think it's really worth noting. I have a feeling that your numbers of the number of women directors who are accepted into this festival, I bet it's a standout. And again, I think continuing to be a leader in that way and trumpet that is good business and good practice.
Yeah, I think so.
All around.
The other thing, every year when I do the Spotlight Directors, on my podcast, I have the Spotlight Directors, which I'm not sure who chooses those Spotlight Directors. It's somebody on Trinity's staff, but I have them on the podcast. I do 3 at a time, and it's just funny that this year I had so many men that were coming on, and I looked around and said, "Where are all the women?" And so I called Trinity. I said, "Look, I don't have any female guests," and she goes, "Why not? I sent you a list." And I said, "No, they're not there." And even she went, "Oh shit!" So she sent me 4 female filmmakers so I could interview.
Yeah.
And then now I've got you guys on. I do want that representation as part of our film festival. I don't know that I'll ever, even though people look at me and they see this Celtic mutt, this Irish Welsh dude, but the fact is I have Latino blood. My mother's family is Castilian Spanish and then by way of the Chiapas area of northern Mexico. So people don't know that, but I've thought about, well, should I do a Latino thing? And I don't want to get bogged down in that. I really don't. But I think Women in Film covers everything. It covers every race. It covers every religion. It covers it all. And I think that may be a good reason too. But anyway, guys, I'm sorry I went off on all this, but I wanted to know. So I want to get back before we wrap things up here. I want to get back to the personal with you guys, because you You're both fascinating to me. How do you manage to balance your work with your private lives? Nakia, I know you're a mom. Dayna, I don't know much about your background. Are either of you married or in serious relationships? And if so, how do you keep it all straight and slot it in with your personal lives? I mean, making film is a big commitment. And this isn't just a question I ask only women. My first AD, Jason Allen, has a huge Catholic family, and I've talked to him about this many times. It's fascinating for a single guy like me with no kids to see how people who have serious relationships and how do they manage to compartmentalize all that. I'll start with Nakia.
For over 70 years, the historic Rustic Theater and Entertainment Center in Idyllwild, California, has been the home for movies and live events for all of the communities that encompass the San Jacinto mountain range. And as the forever home of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema, the Rustic has played host to some of the greatest indie films from around the world, as well as blockbuster first-run movies and music and comedy events. And the Idyllwild Festival has been proud to call the Rustic its home base since 2010. So, whether you're in Idyllwild for the film festival, hiking or rock climbing, or just exploring the beautiful mountain village of Idyllwild, California, make sure to add the Rustic Theater to your list of must-visit spots. For a beer or fine wine at the Rustic Tavern, a tasty meal from the snack bar, or just a great movie date or family night out, the Rustic Theater and Entertainment Center is the right choice in Idyllwild. Pop in and say hello.
No small mountain village would be complete without its favorite local breakfast spot. And the Red Kettle restaurant in Idyllwild, California is just that place. As Idyllwild's premier downtown breakfast and lunch restaurant, the Red Kettle is exactly what you'd expect. Great food, friendly service, and quaint small town charm, the Red Kettle is the heart of Idyllwild's village life. And as an official sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema, all festival badge wearers are treated to a 10% discount on every order. The Red Kettle restaurant, Idyllwild, California. Home-style cooking all year round.
At Pure Bean Coffee, Idyllwild, California's premier boutique coffee house, our passion is roasting the highest quality coffee for the most discerning coffee lovers. Our beans are ethically sourced and hand-selected from the world's finest coffee regions. You will notice the enhanced flavor nuances and low acidity with your very first taste. And as a proud sponsor of the Idyllwild International Festival of Cinema, it's our wish to make the best impression possible on filmmakers and attendees from around the globe. So whether it's your first cup in the morning, a midday pick-me-up, or an evening taste of excellence to top off your day, always remember, we at Pure Bean love coffee as much as our customers do.
I have two beautiful daughters. They are 6 and 8. I am not married any longer, that is. But we are still great friends.
All right.
I have to be honest, it's almost like the more you have on your plate, sometimes you become more regimented, or you have to be more regimented with your schedule.
You want something done, you ask a busy person. Isn't that true?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, when can I give this my full attention and be intentional about the time that I'm going to spend on it? So, for example, with Radio Silence, I was getting up at like 4:15, 4:30. And at the time I was living in a different place, and I created a cloffice, and I went to Home Depot and got a piece of wood and sawed it myself and put it on a stand, and would get up and go into this closet office, and I would write from like 4:30 to 6:30. And sometimes it'd be a half a page, and sometimes it would just be a sentence, and it would be a lot of blah, 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 and then go back and edit from before. And then my kids would get up at 6:30, and you hit the ground running, and I put the kids to bed, and I'm like, okay, let me read what I wrote before I go to bed, because that's where I'm going to start off. And it took me almost a year to do that. But if you want to do it, you do it.
Yep.
And the other products that I've worked on from then are very similar setups to that, where it's short sleep time, and, a lot of recording ideas and thoughts into my voice memos. And then once I'm typing it back down or sending the voice memo to my email, that I'm transcribing it that way. And I also, when I get to a certain point, I have had to be comfortable with asking for help. And that's not necessarily was like a genetic thing in me. It's what I was taught to be very independent. If you want to do something, you got to do it on your own. But especially with this creative community, it's like, okay, I've gotten to a certain point. Can you read this? And then you get the notes and you go back and you read it. And then I have friends over like maybe once or twice a month where it's like, okay, let's just hear out loud what we all wrote. And then at least we have something to bounce something off of each other. But between the amount of auditions, thank you. I'm so grateful for all these auditions, but the amount of memorization and the amount of information I have to digest and be a doula, thank you, Dayna, be a doula for stories, it takes up a lot of mental space because I have both of my kids are in dance and they play baseball and they're in musical theater productions and they have play dates all the time and it's always somebody's birthday. It's that I found a process for myself where the editing is really my writing and voice memos and voice notes, or I'm sorry to even say, when I'm at the red light and the creativity sparks, I'm like typing it away in my notes app. And then eager to get to, okay, I have 45 minutes right now to transcribe this and I'm going to come back to it because then I can edit it. And that's where the real writing takes place. But, I was on set this whole weekend and my daughter had a baseball game that, it's a lot to juggle. But again, it really comes back to if you want it, you will find a way. Whether it's a relationship or it's a craft or a project, if you really want it, there's no, you will find a way. You'll find a way, whether it's 10 minutes a day, whether it's 10 minutes a week, you will find a way to do it if you really want to do it.
Good. Dayna, I know you're shy, but why don't you go ahead and give us that same.
Well, that's funny. It's interesting. I'm thinking about what this, well, I'm just reflecting on all that because it's powerful and I relate. I am not married and don't have kids, but I feel like I'm part of this beautiful. First of all, I'm a youngest of three and a middle of five in terms of daughters, and I am very close with my family, and so I go back to Kansas City a lot to see my dad, and I'm actually, my family and I are headed to New York soon to have like a trip. So that part of it, I'm a godparent to, like, I'm so honored, but I have like 4 different goddaughters, and so there's that type of thing that's really special to me. And I really
kids are not the only thing that can you're like me. You're juggling around a lot of things. It may not be children, which I commend Nakia for that, but
it's big.
You have a life, and how do you mesh it all together?
Yeah, so it's a great question because lately I've been really thinking about, and another thing that going back to that idea of like the doula thing, I'm launching. You know how it is when we're being a big dreamer. I'm adding kind of a new vertical to my company. I'm launching a well-being brand, and so that's something that I'm really excited about, which is truly just how do we not drive ourselves into the ground trying to make our dreams come true, right? And so that's important to me. And so like it's really, for me, I think it really makes a big difference going off, the asking for help of it all. I have what I call almost like a well-being advisory board, like meaning, just that thing of, right? Like I'm often talking to my artist friends about how, who is it in your life? Is it a meditation teacher? Is it an executive coach? Is it a friend? Is it your community? And I think it's really important for artists to also have those. To sometimes I think another thing that artists have in common, like, yes, we bet on ourselves, but sometimes we put a little bit too much on our plate trying to do it all on our own. And so I am a big believer in, like, how can I make sure that I've got the support that I need? And so that's a thing that I've really been just learning and relearning, is like, I'm a social butterfly. I love to meet up with friends, but trying to make sure that I don't kind of just, again, like put myself in the hospital trying to make my dreams come true. And so, and so that's really lately been my kind of been my new passion, is like, how do I do it all and still in a way that I can still enjoy it. And because I don't believe in the grinding ourselves down to where it's like, oh, I made my dream come true, but I'm barely above water,
Right.
So yeah, but it's a constant thing for me. I started taking surfing lessons last year,
Nice.
which I find it to be a real metaphor for all of it. So just stuff like that. Just I relate. I'm a big voice note writer as well. Like I love finding those ways to like kind of sneak the writing in. And I do love doing voice notes to myself. I love doing a walk and talk with myself. Like I'll go walk by the LA River and just kind of start working out stories that way. So yeah, it's things like that for me. It's like, and yeah, so that's what it is just finding the ways to work in the life and the dreams, and let them hopefully feed each other.
Yeah, it's important, and that's a good way to put it. Everything has to feed off of everything else. What about before we
balance? The harmony over hustle has been my motto.
Yes. Ooh, that's a good one.
I got to get a T-shirt made.
I'm sorry. If it's 11:30 and I feel like, oh, I should open, final draft or premiere to edit something, I'm like, how much of my heart is going to be in this? The sleep is going to give me something better. So it really is the harmony over hustle, which means like things take longer because we need rest and we need social activity and we need to refill our well, like, not just be focused on the output, but we need to replenish as well. So
exactly.
Sleep when you're dead, ladies. Sleep when you're dead.
See that? Yeah, I love harmony over hustle. I'm putting that one in my pocket. Thank you for that, Nakia. I love it.
What do you guys have coming up? Who's got what? Nakia, what do you have coming up? What projects?
I actually have a few films that I was in that I shot last year that are coming out this year. I have a Verizon commercial that's running right now about this family that you probably seen if you've watched any sports, because it's really have been running, it was running during football and it's still running now. Me and my family were out there with the tree and we don't want to get rid of the tree. And it's like, the holidays are over. And we're like, no, it's not. But I shot a non-binary love story, if you will, over the weekend, which I find to be really important right now because I have some friends that their children are, not sure where they land, and it's about identity. And I play a mom and I have a non-binary child that I don't really know that they're non-binary. And I take them shopping for a dress and my child is deathly afraid to show their authentic self. And I'm putting on all these dresses and tugging and pulling and they really want to wear a suit. And it's this moment of realization where you have to accept your child as they are, whether it's a fleeting thought or it is really who their identity is. And then I have a feature coming out that's called A Couple of Secrets, which is I play like a gangster's wife / fortune teller. And I have another film coming out called Door Knocking, which is about a real life story about a woman who had cancer and she stopped going to like these cancer group therapy meetings because everybody was just, holding each other's hand, waiting to die. And she wanted to live while she could. So she ended up joining this political group and running for office. And I play her truth-telling best friend who I didn't like her in the beginning, but I love her in the end. And it's a true life story. This woman, she ran for political office and she won. And she would go and speak in front of people after chemo. And the director is Rachel Deutsch, who I absolutely love. She's just, I love when you find directors and writers that just, they don't mind putting it all on. I got the chills right now. They put it all on the table and they're just so decisive about their work, but so open that they make you feel like you are really part of the process. Like she would show me the visual storyboards and talk to me about production. And it just really makes you feel like you're part of the process. And she's also a woman director that you might want to put up for women film. And then Nick Palos, he directed A Couple of Secrets. And I am in the process of editing my proof of concept for a limited series called Culprit, which is also based on a true story about one of the first Black women to move up the upper echelons of the FBI, and how you caught one of the biggest culprits, if you will, in American history who was selling secrets to the Russians. So it's very much like Night Agent meets Homeland with the Black female lead. And of course, I'm playing her. And I've been doing a bunch of voiceover work. I have a sci-fi audiobook coming out in a couple of months. And I'm also a lead voice on a podcast audiobook series called Haitian Legends, which blends history and fantasy. It's kind of like Haitian Marvel, if you will.
Sure.
So there's some good things going on right now.
Wow.
Good. I feel good.
That's good. And Dayna, I know you've got nothing going on.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. What's hard is I'm like, what can I talk about at this point? Like, because there's a few of like, yeah, that's incredible. And by the way, Nakia, I'll email you, but I would love to see your film that was at Idyllwild a couple years ago. I'll send you mine. Will you send me yours? For
yes,
sure.
Please,
I just wanted to say that before I forgot. Okay, cool. We'll do that. But I am writing a feature. I'll talk about the indie stuff because there are a few things that are going on the TV development side that are still kind of under wraps. But I'm writing an indie feature that is inspired by last year was a strange year in my life where like a lot of different women at different age ranges and that kind of thing kind of were dropping off, like dropping dead. And I really want to do a dark comedy. I'm writing a dark comedy that's kind of the opposite of 4 Weddings and a Funeral. It's kind of like 4 funerals and a wedding. So I'm working on a dark comedy feature inspired by that, like the fact that especially like Black women in my life were just checking out last year. And I thought it was really deep and fascinating. So I'm writing something called May She Rest that is about that. That's a dark comedy about, they seem to be tired and just checking out. So that I'm working on that and I'm really excited.
Also a true story.
Well, you got, but you are. I don't want to skip over the fact that I know you can't talk about much, but you are working on some big industry things as well. I was doing my research on you, girl.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And yes, and you know, one thing I will mention is that I'm actually, I mentioned I was taking surfing lessons. I am developing a show around Black surfers, and like there's like a real trend going on right now. A friend of mine has an amazing event that's actually helping to build Surfer Center into the Olympics, called A Great Day in the Stoke. And so I'm developing a show around just kind of the rise in just in the surfing community. It's just a cool, it's kind of like you guys remember like, kind of like an All-American meets like, basically I'm developing a fun soapy drama that's set in the world of surfing. So and then the other things that are some of them are a little under wraps right now, but I'm very excited about just kind of the juggle. And then I'm also working on a vertical series. You know how that's that new thing that's popping up these days. So I'm also working on that. It's something in that realm that it's more of a comedic one that I'm excited about. So yeah, that's a few of the things that I can mention.
Cool.
Congratulations. Look, the real flex is it's in development. I can't talk about it.
Isn't that's such a badge of honor, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
I love being able to say that. I love saying
I know it's not exciting, but I guess it is also exciting, right? It's a little of both.
Perks people up. They want to be the first to know. Well,
I know.
It's been amazing having you both on today. I'm so glad that we were able to put this together. So thanks for sharing some of your experiences with my listeners. I really appreciate you both.
Absolutely. We appreciate you.
So,
it's been a pleasure, and I hope we can do it again. And we can't wait to, hopefully Nakia and I will be back at Idyllwild at the same time. We'll all get to hang out.
That's
great. Right.
But you know,
right. And please tell Trinity and the crew that we love them, and they really are so great.
Yeah,
yes.
they get enough accolades. Yeah. I will. I'll let them know. So That does it for this edition of the Stephen Savage Show. I want to thank my producer, Nicole Hughes-Bradshaw, my executive producer, Steve Tuma, engineer Maurice Sudo, and all of the Savage podcasting team. And to all of you for downloading and listening in, which helps keep our numbers way up there on all platforms. We've been growing like the last year has been phenomenal, so thanks for that. So for Nakia Secrest and Dayna Lynne North, as well as myself, have a great week ahead, and we will see you next time. And thanks again, ladies.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Always remember that we are loved.